Hello.
Hello.
This time 4 years ago, we were packing up our truck.
What?
And moving to a new city and a new state, to a new country.
That was such a difficult move.
Oh, and it has completely changed our lives. Would you say it's completely changed our lives living here?
It has.
So we're going to talk about a few things today. First of all, we can't believe it's been 4 years since we moved here to Wyoming.
If you were here with us at that time, raise your hand in the chat. I said press 1 or press 2 or something.
Yeah. Type 1 if you were here with us. And I was cleaning out the garage Saturday from our Thanksgiving sale, which, by the way, actually, before I forget.
Our Thanksgiving sale?
Yeah, we haven't cleaned up since Thanksgiving. So, by the way, if you want a really good discount, I found several damaged books that didn't get processed and put back into the system. So, if you want a really good sale on our books, this isn't a sale. It's just discounted clearance damaged books. Most of them are minor damages, like corners are bent where the post office dropped them that way when they were sending them back. They are, 50% off?
The damaged ones are 50% off.
I have 13 of the volume 1. I have 9 of the volume 2. And I think I have 6 of the gluten-free, dairy-free. So if you want an extra good deal on our book, go grab those clearance damaged books. There are no returns on those, just so you know. But they're everything. I only put books in there that were, the pages were all fine inside. But as I was cleaning out the garage.
Oh, and the pages are fine inside, and they have, like she said, bent corners, maybe some scratches or something. But it's not like the cover is all completely ripped off. It's nothing like that.
But hello, Rob. We're going to be talking about Rob tonight, too.
How'd you see Rob was on? Oh, I see.
So as we were cleaning out the garage, it's like, oh my goodness, we have been here 4 years. How do I collect so much stuff? And then I went to the thrift store, and guess what I brought home? More stuff.
Cleared it out to make room for the new stuff.
So, yeah. But I was like, my goodness. And part of the stuff for me is when we first moved here, I got a bunch of stuff for temporary, like nightstands and tables and coffee tables that I just got for us to use until I could find what I wanted. And so a lot of that is just stuff that was already mostly broken down anyway, and I had not anticipated keeping it anyway. And so now I'm finding the stuff that I actually want, and I'm getting rid of stuff. But we took an entire pickup load to the dump. And this year, we get 6 free trips to the dump every year in our city. And we've already used 4 of them.
We've just been purging extra things.
We've just been getting rid of.
It's funny because we don't have, it's not like, oh, it's a hoarder house kind of situation. It looks pretty clean generally, but it's funny how much stuff you can gather in 4 years.
Like, how in the world did we get all this stuff? Well, I do know how, because of exactly that. I just got temporarily a bunch of stuff, and now I'm finding the things that I actually want. And so, as we were kind of thinking about this, I was like, we have a really super nice house. And it has always been my dream to have a house that I really loved. And also, just from growing up, Mom was talking the other day to the kids. What was she over here for? She was over here for something. Oh, to see our daughter. And she was talking about how we had the swimming pool in our attic. And she said, I lived like that for 10 or 10 or 11 years. Every time it would rain, she'd have to just go scoop out the swimming pool out the window of the top floor of the apartment upstairs, and she'd just dump it out the window. And she said, yeah, well, we lived like that for 10 or 11 years. And my response was, and that is why I live in the house I do today. And I was like, it never occurred to me 40 some odd years later, that's exactly why I live in the house I do today. Because I don't want to go back to that. Now, was it abusive or anything like that? No, it wasn't. It was just life. We didn't have the money to fix the roof. It's just the way it was. There are people who are in way worse condition, even than us living back then in 3 rooms. We couldn't heat the house. We could only heat the 3 rooms at the back of the house where we slept in the kitchen and the family room, and there was this little tiny bedroom, sewing room type thing, and a bathroom. We just heated that part of the house, and we slept on the floor and the couch. But that put the drive in me to not have to go back to do that. And I was determined, I don't care what I have to do, I'm not going to live like that again. I don't have to live like that again. Now, could I live like that again? Yes, I could. Would I die? No. Would I like it? No. But I could do it.
And part of the prepping thing is, if there was some circumstance you absolutely couldn't control, at least you know you can do it. Right?
Exactly. And it built in resourcefulness for me, how to make do with what I have, how to find bargains and deals, and all of those kinds of things in me. And one of those things was to have a house that I really liked. And we really liked this house, but we worked our patooties off for 26 years to get this house. Mike and I did.
It was the
for
end
me,
goal.
30 years.
It was the end goal all this time.
We sacrificed. We only drove cars that were 20 years old for years. Our 4Runner that we have now is the newest car we've ever had.
And what's funny,
and it's still 10 years old.
What's funny is we have a 25-year-old Toyota Camry, and I still actually like it. It's got a lot of miles on it, but it drives like butter.
And so I kind of was thinking about that, because we were talking about the floods. We were in Texas. We were talking about Epstein. We were talking about the bill that got passed and all this kind of stuff. And the thing is, in life, there is going to be all this stuff always happening. Mike and I could do a 30-hour part series on all the things that we've been through and done in our life that we just all of a sudden 30 years later got lucky. And so I was just kind of thinking about that, and I was like, part of it is you just have to do the next thing. You just do. And I haven't been feeling very good lately. Well, for a while now. Even more so. And I just keep going to the doctor trying the next thing. I did the hyperbaric and the glutathione shots. It helped a ton. But I've only got one vein that I can do glutathione shots in, so I just can't go twice a week for my one vein, to get a shot all the time. And so those things helped, but it didn't cure me. Okay, well, it did help a lot. I felt better. Didn't cure me, but I'm trying the next thing. Then I try the next thing. I've tried 4 or 5 different medications in the last few months. And so part of it is you just have to figure out, what is the next thing I can do? The heat has been horrid here in Wyoming. I did not move to Wyoming to have 100-degree temperatures. I'm sorry. I did not. I am very angry at the moment that it's 100 degrees.
Well, it seems
Oh,
like
excuse me, 96 degrees.
it
It's
seems
only
like last month we were
96.
thinking, man, it'd be great to get above zero.
And so
We're not complaining. I mean, well,
I'm
you're
complaining. I
complaining.
hate 100 degrees. But the thing is, when I'm not feeling well from the heat, okay, what's the next thing I can do? This morning, Jack and I went out. He moved some logs that Mike had cut and got them all stacked up. I had tomato cages sitting with plants from last year that I just hadn't gotten put in the compost pile. I was like, okay, it's cool enough. I can at least get this done because we were in the shade. I'm like, okay, I can get that done. Came in and sat down, had a cup of tea. Okay, then I went to the gym and worked out, got that done. So even if you have to sit down and rest for 30 or 45 minutes, get your butt up and go do the next thing. Try the next thing. You just can't not try. Even if you're depressed, even if you got diabetes, even if you got this, even if you got that. You've got to at least try. And if you keep trying in little increments, it may take you 30 years or 26 years, 30 years in my case, 26 years since we were married. But you can eventually get there. And, we're talking about, oh boy, are you ready, dear?
Sure. I'm not sure what I'm ready for, but I'm ready.
We were talking about the floods this week. And I had somebody email me something saying, it's the weather manipulation. They're manipulating the weather. They're cloud seeding. And look what happens. And look they killed all these people by cloud seeding and all this. Well, in 1987, they had the same exact flood. This is not a new occurrence for down there. And they had all these people die.
It was a horrible tragedy, yeah.
But my point is, these things are just going to happen. Stop getting yourself all worked up about cloud seeding and all of this stuff. Who killed Epstein? I don't know who killed him. From the autopsy, it sounds like somebody did. Sounds like there's some cover-up. What am I supposed to do about that? There's literally nothing I can do about that. So why am I worrying about that? There's nothing I can do for all the people down in Texas. I can pray for those people, and I pray that God will give those people comfort and give them the strength to keep going. But other than that, there's only so much help that can come in and help people. Not that I could physically do it in Texas anyway. So I can't sit here and be worrying about cloud seeding. I can't sit here and be worried about who killed him. I don't want to say it too many times. I can't sit here and be worried about what's in every single bite of my food. I was on a gardening site the other day, and some lady had a really bad weed problem. And I said, you know what? You just got to throw some Roundup on it and be done with it.
Oh, she said the R word.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Are you checking to see if I've got death threats yet? Probably do. And oh my goodness, the firestorm that erupted. And you know what? I actually went and looked. And I said, give me the proof that Roundup causes cancer. There is no proof. Yeah, there might be a court case, but that was a court case of jurors. And maybe the guy was bathing in the stuff for his job. If that's the case, you're not using it correctly. You shouldn't be using it that way. Not that it's his fault. I mean, if his employer made him do that and he felt like he had to do that, well, then, But what I'm saying is, you can't sit here and worry about all this stuff all the time. My refrigerator, 4 weeks later, do we have a refrigerator? Nope. Still no refrigerator.
So I'm curious, is it totally driving you crazy that we don't have one? I mean, it would be
Not real, slightly.
It would be nice to have one, but I just love not hearing you have problems with the noise that the refrigerator's made.
Yeah, I was
gotten used to it.
I was complaining a lot. I apologize, dear, but it was noisy, wasn't it?
It was noisy. Although, to be honest, I've become much more aware of how noisy it is since I've been married to you. Like, there were certain noises that I didn't notice as much, but now I do. But yeah, so it's not really been that big a deal not having the refrigerator on the main. I mean, it's inconvenient.
I am much more reluctant to cook. I'll be honest. That's why we've had every man for himself for about 6 nights a week for the last 4 weeks.
That way all of us go downstairs and upstairs.
Because it really has knocked. That's why I haven't done hardly any cooking videos, because my motivation is just zero. Absolutely zero. Also, I've been in a lot of pain because I'm on some medications that are giving me energy, so I get up and try and get some stuff done. But then my fibromyalgia gets so bad from being up and doing so much that I'm in horrible pain. So thankfully, I went to the doctor last week and got some new stuff. So I'm hoping it will start helping. But my whole point in this is just do what you can. If the only thing I can make for dinner is pancakes and sausages, because that's all I've got the energy for, that's what we're going to do. We're not going to go out to eat. I would love to go out to eat, but I ain't about to spend $50 to go out to eat and do that every day when we have pancakes and sausages at home, when we have chicken that I could defrost and do it. And so my whole point in this is just do something. Just try something. Now, here's where we talk about Rob. We love you, Rob.
You're my hero, Rob.
You're Mike's hero. So for Father's Day, thank you. So for Father's Day, I spent 7 or 8 weeks selling all this stuff on Facebook Upcycle on our local town.
She was actually buying and selling.
Yeah. I would go to garage sales and I would buy stuff like KitchenAid mixers, and then I'd turn around and come home and list them on Facebook Marketplace. And so, yeah, if you guys have comments or questions, please put them in there. And so for about 7 or 8 weeks, I was like, well, so what happened was the first 2 or 3 weeks I made like $1,500. I was like, whoa, wait a minute. I might have something here. So I took and kept going. And then I thought it was like 2 weeks before Father's Day, and I got up to $2,000. I was thinking, man, can I get up to the $3,700 we need? Now, I technically did sell $3,700 on Facebook, but I ended up taking $700 out for family stuff like birthday presents and stuff like that, and paying people for stuff. And I couldn't tell Mike, because if he just started seeing money disappearing out of our checking account, he'd be like, well, you got all this cash, because he knew I was selling the stuff. He just didn't know what I was selling it for. He's like, well, you got all this cash. Why are we taking more cash out of the bank? But anyway, so I got him this mower. And, or I got him the money for the mower.
Yeah.
And so we were going to go out and buy it the next day, actually. And Mike's like, you know, maybe we should see if someone has one that we could borrow first. Just make sure this is going to work on our property.
Well, the thing is, we have a pretty big piece of property, and it would be really nice, but we have never spent that much money on a lawnmower.
You haven't spent that much money on a car.
I just suddenly had this gulp moment, like, gulp, do we really want to spend that much on a lawnmower? And then I got to thinking, wait, what if it doesn't work? Yeah. And we mentioned it on the show, and a lot of people said, oh, that's not going to work. You're not going to like that. And I was like, what? I can't believe that. Oh. I was looking at it and thinking about physics, and I thought, it should be fine. So go ahead.
Rob's here, Rob. I'm getting ready to sing Rob's praises, and he's harassing me saying, "How do you make Jell-O?" So we were like, man, it's been 3 weeks since Father's Day, almost a month now. Like, who's got a zero turn we could borrow?
We're like, the grass is getting longer. We can't put it off any longer.
So we thought of our friend Rob. We love you, Rob. And we were like, man, how in the world?
Hey, Rob, are you confused about that point yet? We've just kind of said it just a few times.
Rob's my hyperbaric guy, and we hyperbaric oxygen guy. And we have become friends with him and his wife Michelle. And Rob's like, well, I've got one. You could borrow it. Well, we didn't have a trailer. So we thought, okay, how do we get it over here? Because he was clear on the other side of town. Well, we can maybe drive it over here. You'd have to take some really weird routes to get over here, but we could maybe do that. Well, finally, I was like, hello, why don't we just rent a trailer? Our son's been talking about renting a trailer to go get himself a car in Colorado, and we were like, oh, well, why don't we just rent a trailer and go over? So for $60, Mike got a trailer, went over to Rob's on Monday and got the mower. And we're not going to tell you what happened.
What?
Do we tell them what happened?
Yes.
But I have a video coming out.
I know.
If I ever get it done.
But see, they get to specially see it because they're here with us today.
Okay, go ahead. Tell them what happened.
With the mower?
Yes.
I was so excited. I thought, this is going to be great. Yeah. Probably, our yard is pretty hilly. Certain parts are flat. And I thought, so we'll probably be able to mow 70% of it with this, and then the rest we'll have to push mow. Get out there, and at first we started it on the flattest part. And I was doing okay, having a little trouble getting close to the edges, but as soon as I got to some places that were only slightly hilly, wow, it was really not doing well. And it turned out that, I guess this is the problem that other people with zero-turn mowers were talking about, is that anytime there was any kind of an incline, it wanted to dive towards the down.
So we were going to Photoshop a picture of the mower going through our fence and landing in the lake behind our house and send it to Rob.
He said
we should have. I wish we would have.
Well, he
that.
told me. I thought. I don't know. I don't think Rob would find that amusing. And he said, "Yes, I would. It would have been awesome. I would have reposted it on Facebook."
But by the time Mike got done testing it out, he was so tired. He's like, "I can't do this. That was too stressful."
I was really kind of shocked because I've never driven one before.
It was bad.
The wheelbase on them is really wide.
It was bad.
So thinking about physics, I would think it should be okay. I think maybe because it's grass, it's more inclined to slide. But what I noticed is there were a couple times where, I've never driven an actual thing with that kind of controls, but I played a lot of games when I was a kid with those kinds of controls. And so the controls in my brain were fine. So
video gaming helped him drive a mower.
It's true. But
it's good for something.
And it worked great when I was on pavement that was flat. Or at Rob's house, his yard is flat mostly. And so it worked great in that circumstance. I was just shocked that even a slight incline, it wanted to just move down the hill. And there were a couple times where I'm starting to head downhill and I'm slowing it down, but it's wanting to really go fast down the hill. And so finally I pull the whole thing to a stop and then it lines up pointing down the hill at the fence. And I'm like, okay, how do we get this?
So the former owners did go through the fence, just so you know.
Yeah, the wife told me that her husband went through the fence completely and she never let him drive the mower after that. But I now have solidarity with him. I understand, okay, it wasn't you, it was the mower.
So the problem is I need to mow.
Yeah, well, there were a couple times where I was trying to figure out how to get it out when I got it real low, close to the fence at the bottom. And another thing I noticed is our yard seems, when we're foot mowing it, it seems like half of it is kind of level. And what I realized when you're on a zero-turn mower, almost none of it is level. Like ours is, even the parts that look level, it's just because when you're walking, you're God made you to balance the self-balance. So anyway, I did manage to mow, I don't know, 20% of it.
Yeah.
I managed to mow 20% of it, but man, some places I was a little afraid because it just felt like the whole thing was going to turn over. And it
Still
was
thinking the sheep or goat idea might be a better option.
I talked to some people in town about that, and they said, well, the problem with sheep and goats is that they'll eat all the stuff you want to keep and not the grass and weeds. So they're like, they'll destroy all your flowers, but then, yeah. So otherwise, that would be great. It'd be great to have a bunch of sheep.
This is sheep. Did you know that Wyoming has more sheep than cattle?
Yep.
I did not know that until we moved here.
Oh man, there's a place where the boys and I have gone to hike. For anyone who's in the area, it's on Highway 14A on the west side of the Bighorn Mountains, where they have a lot of sheep that they pasture out there. And one time we came, and there must have been 5,000 of them. We came, and there were sheep as far as we could see on the horizon. And we came up, and they had dogs that the dogs are not apparently attended by a person. The dogs are out there just managing the sheep on their own because they're working dogs. And it was funny because there was one dog that he came up and he was wrangling the cars. He was like growling, getting in front of cars to keep them from driving through the sheep. So yeah, there were tons of sheep up on the mountain.
So we've looked at those, battery operated ones that supposedly can do all that. But my goodness, they're $3,000 to $5,000 anyway.
She means the robot ones.
And so we thought, well, we could try that, but I'm not willing to spend $5,000. So if any robot mower company wants to contact us, let us know.
It would be, honestly, those robot ones, if they do what they say they do, that would be amazing. But they're like $3,000. And apparently you have to put out some sort of barrier edge so it knows where the edge of the yard is so it doesn't keep mowing past it. But they all say that they can do hills. They're just great, perfect for hills. It's amazing. And then when I look at the videos online, it's like this mowed golf course with a real smooth hill. I'm thinking, no, I'm talking about a hill. And our hills aren't that steep. Like the one spot where I was really having, the first place where I was really having trouble with the zero-turn mower, the grade is maybe like that. What would that be? I don't know. It wasn't that steep. But when I look at the robot mowers, it appears that all the videos they have showing how amazing it is, it's not that steep, and it's like a golf course. Our yard is more like, it's got super steep parts and somewhat steep parts, and there are a lot of, the grass isn't like super even like a golf course because a lot of it is just native grass. What's up near the house is planted, and the native grass is really nice when it's green. But yeah, that mower would be amazing if it worked.
So the next thing is, now we're just going to have to push mow our lawn.
I looked online
for the rest of our lives.
Find out, and
I'd like to see you doing that when you're 90 years old.
Push mowing is the best. Well, we were thinking we could hire kids to push mow when we're old, and it would be way cheaper than buying a big mower.
I guess. Although our push mower just died. We should have gotten a self-propelled one. You should have done that.
Well, we can get a second one that's self-propelled. I mean, it was so much cheaper than a riding mower.
Yeah. But, so.
Then two of us could mow at the same time.
Can you send me the link, please, to some questions?
Oh, yes.
So now my whole point to this is now we've got to figure out what we're going to do to mow. Are we just going to keep mowing? But at least we're trying to figure it out. We're not just giving up and saying, oh, we just can't do anything. There's nothing that can be done. We're trying to figure it out. We're trying to do something.
Well, there's one other thing on the mowing. My thinking is, first of all, there's a Pollyanna movie that came out on in the BBC that's available in America in various ways. Pollyanna, probably from, 5 or 10 years ago. And we had a pastor that used to kind of speak down to a Pollyanna attitude. And so I was just curious. One time I watched this movie and I was like, I actually think it's really charming, her attitude, because in the story, she has just a really difficult life struggle with lots of things that people would just have a mental breakdown about. And she's always trying to figure out what's the positive way I can look at this. And there was part of me on the lawnmower that's just been thinking, I go to the gym every day. And some days I do weights and some days I do cardio. But I was thinking, why would I be that concerned about doing 3 or so extra hours of cardio a week? Of course, that's 3 hours when I'm sharing it with Jack. We probably do 4 altogether, but I do more of it because I get out there and I feel good about it. So
Ken says create a great Wyoming mowing competition for teens. And let them use our yard.
That would be awesome. That'd be great. Demonstrate your skills, and we'll take photos of you that you can use for your marketing when you go to other people who are going to pay you for mowing.
So we borrowed Rob's mower, got a trailer, got a little bit. I don't know. You spent 45 minutes mowing, maybe got 20% of it.
But honestly,
so we took it back. Got to see Rob's paint tape green walls.
Yeah, Rob was harassing us about our house colors. Actually, Tars paints nice colors, but Rob, he's very adventurous with his colors.
Well, yeah, ours was too.
Yeah. No, I think everything was fine until Frog Eye Green, Rob.
It's fine. Ignore him.
It is fine. I was just like, wow, that would definitely.
He wanted to make sure that they wake up in the morning.
I was going to say it would wake me up. But the interesting thing is we did keep it for that long, and I got about 20% mowed. But honestly, within about 5 minutes, we knew that's not going to work. And we were so glad we didn't spend that large amount of money. Because then, if we were going to sell it, we'd probably only get, even if we say it's almost new, people aren't going to want to pay more than they'd want probably at least a 30% discount, maybe even more, right? Because it doesn't have a warranty once you're the second owner.
Yeah. All right. Comments and questions. Evening bounding the Badlands. She says it's hot and muggy. 95 in southeast Alberta. Oh, my goodness. Yes. Froze family, nice to wake up to you. Good morning. How's tomorrow?
Morning.
Today is the shortest day of our entire lives.
What?
Yes. Like the sun decided, or the earth, wait a minute, what goes around what? Does the sun go? No, we go around the sun, right? How does that work? We go around the sun.
Yes.
Okay. For some reason, we're going faster today than all the other days in our entire life by 1/60 millionth of a nanosecond.
But that doesn't determine the day. That's a year. The day is how fast it spins.
I know, but for our entire life, this is going to be the fastest day we've ever had. Because today we're spinning faster.
Fastest because we're shooting further through the solar system.
Yeah, Bible verse about time going faster. Let's see. So what I'm wondering is this that Bible verse about time going faster? It says, and unless those days have been shortened, no life would have been saved for the sake of the elect. Those days will be cut short. Matthew 24:22. Is God cutting the day short already?
But does that make the day short if we're traveling faster?
Yes, because it's shorter, because there's not as much of the day.
Well, but the day is based on the Earth spinning and traveling through the solar system. That would make the year shorter.
The day is shorter. It's shorter than any other day we will ever have in our entire life. So there you go. It's even biblical.
Okay.
Okay, next one. See, I missed that 1/millionth of a millisecond nanosecond today.
Kimberly, I need to try that. She says, I see highway landscapers use those on hills all the time, so maybe it's a learned skill. I should go down to the road department and ask them what they do.
Well, first of all, they have those huge mowers.
Well, I was going to say, I think that they're specialty mowers. At least here they are, Kimberly. But I should go ask them because that might be a clue. What? Rob says I like to hike. What? Rob, we're going to have to make an appointment.
There you go. Lynn, she loves listening to us. It's like sitting in a friend's conversation no matter what adventure you're going through. It's always real life, and I find it comforting. Aw, thanks. Tristan, does anyone grocery shop at Target? The prices are outrageous on groceries. I have not shopped at Target for over 10 years since they did the whole letting men who are mentally ill go into the women's bathroom. I have not shopped there since, so I don't know how expensive their groceries are. Bounty of the Badlands. Finished baling and stacking the first cut of hay today. Wicked harvest. Second cut is good. Should only have to buy another 200 ton, and it should be reasonable cost. That is great. Wow. Yeah, hay is very important when you're a rancher. Amy, she's been binge watching our videos today. Thank you. Amazing Grace, happy 4th anniversary. It seems like yesterday. I know, doesn't it? And Suze was with us when we moved. The TV says it was one of the first episodes I watched. I was completely jealous as my family had just visited Wyoming for the first time. That's great.
You know what's funny is before we moved here, my main memories of having come through Wyoming is coming through with my parents and such when it was like 150 degrees out at places like Devil's Tower and stuff like that. And so that kind of memory would definitely turn you away.
Yeah.
Although, to be honest, it's more often 30 below than it is over.
Yeah. We get a lot of snow here, just so you guys know. Pam's been watching us since 2016. Well, thank you. Art, I finally got to see a live show. Hello, I'm glad you caught us.
Yes, I think also there was Amy said, I think was maybe her first live show.
Yaku 1. Throw volume 1 in my yard when you go to Billings. Oh, that's funny. Bounty of the Badlands. I just finished purging my can shop, root cellar, garage, and every room in the house. You know, the worse the shop. Oh, yeah.
What was this? I was wondering what the can thing was.
I don't know. What is a can? Did you Google it?
No, I was going to ask.
See, the AI tells us anything we want to know now.
You
So
know,
all you have to do is type it in.
It's funny because when
A
Bounty
shipping container.
Oh, okay. When Bounty was talking about the temperatures up there, I guess it was only recently that I realized, oh, yeah, it would get hot up there.
Yeah.
I always used to think it would never get hot because in other places where we've been for super far north, it's been cold.
Yep.
Or at least not hot.
Debbie, I'm in the process of downsizing move, and oh my, I didn't realize how much stuff you accumulate until you get rid of stuff. I know, it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. I'm sitting here looking at all my studio stuff thinking, what do I do with it? All right, Vicky, you guys struggled, sacrificed, worked hard, and now you have the house you deserve. Thank you. Yes. My whole point is you just have to keep going. Just keep going. Just think of Dory. Just think of Dory.
Just keep swimming. Just keep swimming.
Vicky.
Actually,
yeah, wait, go ahead.
When you were talking about it's funny because what Tara was talking about, I just was listening to a book this week, Atomic Habits. Have you?
Oh yeah, everybody's talked about that book.
Have you read it?
No.
It's actually pretty amazing. It was just talking about how you would like it because it was talking about it's fine to have goals, but it's more important to have habits that you do every day.
Yep.
And it's not the first book that I've ever heard that, but it was basically saying if you do a habit every day, even a small amount of a habit, you'll make a lot more progress than if you have a goal, but you mostly start and stop all the time.
Mike knows I hate goals.
Yeah. And
goals irritate me.
I think it was brilliant. I think it also had an example where if you managed to improve 1% every day, how amazing you would get after a while. I'll actually put a link to it here. If you haven't heard of it before, you can take a look at it. But it was really good. I'll probably listen to it again to try to. Well, it was inspiring me. It did inspire me to change some habits, but some things I think I need to listen to it again, so I'm more motivated to instill those habits.
Louise, I have 4 siblings and we were raised in a 4-room house with no inside bathroom. We didn't live in a house with a bathroom until I was 15. I'm 61 now, so I know how to survive if I need to. Yeah. Send me the next one. I mean, I can do it if I need to. That's why surviving doesn't really scare me at all. But it also put a motivation in me to not have to live like that again if I can avoid it. Lisa Ann, I heard the carnivore diet is helpful. Yes, my doctor suggested I go on that, and I bought a whole bunch of meat like a month ago. I haven't started because I just can't get myself to do it. Nathaniel, and people laugh at couponers with huge stockpile. I don't apologize for finding sales and stocking up as much as possible. It's already helped me on my SSI to cut by 1/3. Very good. Amy cannot stand summer either. Neither can I. And when Yoku1 says mosquitoes. Yes, I hate the mosquitoes too. And Karen complains about the heat. Yep. And Little Crafty Nook like it's my Tara's toupee. Thank you. I'm glad you like my toupee.
Yes, it's very nice.
And Linda says it's 114 in Arizona, which is why I don't live in Arizona. I visited there one summer, and that was good enough for me. Ooh, I can't stand heat. And I had a swimming pool there, too. Ooh. Valley Badlands, no sympathy, Tara. There are some like me who love the heat. I only get 2 months a year. You get 10 of cooler. The hotter it is, the harder I go. That's funny. Amazing Grace. I bought fulvic minerals in addition to methylated B vitamin. I hope it helps. I may have to try a carnivore. What is a fulvic minerals, I wonder? I don't know what that is.
I've never heard of that. I was wondering if you would know what it was.
I don't know. That's a new one on me. Oh, yeah. It's just electrolytes. Yeah. Yeah, electrolytes actually help me too. That's one of the things that I added in. I need to start. Maybe I should start taking those again because I haven't taken those for a while. Amazing Grace says my husband built a small produce stand that I drew up. Now I'm waiting on my garden to produce some vegetables to put in it. Very good. Vicki, did you ever purchase a new refrigerator? We did not yet. So there was 2 that came on upcycle the other day, and I guess I missed out on both of them. They never got back to me. Kayla, life stinks. Strap on a helmet and take all your anxieties to Jesus. Yep.
Yes.
There are things that are going to be happening in life, like floods. And I mean, it's just going to happen. And some are fair, some are not fair. And unfortunately, that's just the way it's going to have to be. And so just figure out, okay, what's the next step I need to take to get myself up and going again? And start over again.
Well, unfortunately, we can try to take action on things that we have experience, knowing those things are a problem, to do something differently. But you just can't control everything. And sometimes like tragic things happen, and it's good to learn from those things and say, how can we prevent this again? But the truth is, we're never going to be able to control everything. We're not God. And I think a lot of people have the sense that if I just eat right, I'll never die. If I exercise right, I'll never die. And if I do everything a certain way, we can control it all. And you just can't control it all. And that's the main thing. It's funny because Tara she mentioned a lot of things about some of the controversies that people talk about or conspiracies or whatever. But I used to work in television, and I never worked in news, but I worked close to news. And I had a friend who was really disturbed because at the time I was very, very solidly not watching or reading any news. And he was like, how can you do that? What happens if this happened? What if that happened? What if that happened? And I told him, if there was a real emergency that I needed to know about, somebody would tell me about it. And what I discovered is it is tragic when bad things happen to people. But a lot of the stories you hear about somebody getting murdered or whatever, those stories are in other places. And even though it's bad for that person and the people that know that person, do you need to know tragic stories about people in places if you don't have any connection to those people or places? because it's just not going to help you. So just in general, not focusing on all the terrible things in the world all the time is a good plan. I'm not saying you should be entirely unaware that things happen in the world, but just kind of like Tara was saying, if that's where your focus is, you have a limited amount of energy every day. And if you're burning that energy worrying about things that you can't control to people that you don't know in places that you have no connection to, you're not living in the moment.
Yep.
So
Pin, you should get one of those tiny refrigerator apartment fridges. Yeah, I thought I should get 4 of them, just stacked 2 on top of the other.
wait, which one? The shipping containers?
No, the fridges.
Oh, the fridges. Wait, what did she say?
Mini fridges.
We actually talked about what if we just had a collection of mini fridges? Because the thing I didn't mention this to you, but I think would be cool about it is if one of them failed, we take it out and we get a different one, and we've only been down 20% of the refrigerator for the amount of time it took us to do that.
Mary, please let me know about the new fibromyalgia med. What I am getting is useless. So I've been on it before, but I'm trying low dose naltrexone. Low dose naltrexone. So just Google it. You'll find all kinds of information about it. Have you had your copper levels checked? No, not copper. I've had everything else checked. Jazz says, my fridge doesn't make any noise. I'd be curious to see what kind you have. Although I have learned people's noise tolerances are very different than mine. So some people will say theirs doesn't make noise, and I will beg to differ with them. Barbara, Facebook Marketplace in my area has such a high incidence of people not showing up when they say they will. Is this the case where you are? And if not, any hints to prevent this behavior? Yes. It happens here. So the things that I do is I do not hold anything. So like if they say, can I come tomorrow and look at it? I will say, yes. Text me tomorrow when you're ready to come. And if I still have it and haven't sold it by then you can come look at it. That's how I do it. I don't give them where I'm going to meet them or where to buy it at until they are ready to come over. Louise, I put dry black-eyed peas in my Ninja pressure cooker this morning. I will make homemade cornbread. Oh, that sounds good. We have tomatoes to slice for dinner. I'm starting to get some green tomatoes. We'll see if they do anything. I've kind of given up on my garden. I didn't stake any of my tomatoes. I got to rebuild my garden bed. The deer and the rabbit are getting in there. So I've just let it go. I got to tear up all my strawberries. I spent 3 years growing strawberries, and I got to tear up all my strawberries now. So I'm just letting them have it, not even watering my strawberries. So I'm going to start over again next year and see.
Janet asks, is it now Trek Zone?
Yeah.
Okay.
Lisa, my neighbor's lawn service backs the mower down the steep part. That's interesting.
Wait. Oh, yeah. I didn't think. Well, backing it might. Well, actually, what I noticed is if I was pointing uphill, it felt like the thing was going to pop a wheelie. It felt like it was going to go up over like that. What I noticed is if I had trouble and I had it pointing down and it got almost to the fence and then I went completely in reverse, then it would move slowly up the hill backwards, and that was a lot more comfortable. Yeah. Like going up the hill backwards was much less the feeling that the thing is going to roll than going up the hill forwards. So.
Yep. Oh, are you putting comments in? Because Donna says, what a blessing to have a happy man. Are you making up comments?
Oh, I'm sorry. I guess I thank you, Donna. No, it wasn't me this time.
Are you always happy?
I'm not always happy, but I'm usually fairly upbeat, right? I smile a lot. We'll say that.
Bonnie, have I been checked for parasites? Yeah, I've done all that, cleanses and all that. Can you see the next one? Turrid. Hello, Turrid. We were just talking about Norway the other day. Have a 3-day summer this weekend. I don't know which summer. We have a lot of days with 15 degrees Celsius and a lot of rain. Oh man, to be up north again. Rachel, then will a wide self-propelled work? Yeah, we might. I think we'll probably have to get a self-propelled. Actually, I wish we wouldn't have just bought this one because we should have gotten the self-propelled. Yeah, some people are talking about goats. Montana girl. Yep. Yeah, Ida drove past a robot mower stuck in the hole. Pfft, that's funny.
I've never actually seen one in real life. I've only seen them on videos.
Yeah. Did you send me the next ones?
I'm sending it to you now. Oh, sorry.
I
thought you were just
Mary says my dad would go across the hill. Yeah, we tried that. That didn't work. Are you mowing with a rider or push mower? Push mower, just a regular, good old-fashioned push mower. Not a real mower, but I mean just a regular gas-powered lawn mower.
Well, and did you get to any questions? There were a couple people that talked about the self-propelled ones again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
so the thing with the self-propelled one is when I was a teenager, we had a yard, and it wasn't really that. I think it was a 1/4 acre there. So wow, we have 1.5 acres here. But in that 1/4 acre, there was a steep hill in the front yard, and my dad got a self-propelled mower, and it was my job to mow it. And so about I don't know, a couple months into owning it, the self-propelled part died, and so then the lawnmower was 30 pounds heavier, and I don't know if he didn't want to fix it or was unable to fix it or didn't have a warranty or what. But for whatever reason, the next 5 years that I mowed that, I had to mow it with a self-propelled mower that was 30 pounds more because the self-propelled didn't work. And so I asked Jack his opinion because he also mows. And both of us were of the mindset that I'd rather have a lighter mower that I can manage than a self-propelled mower that might cause us more refrigerator / dishwasher / stove type problems.
Pointing at me?
I'm not pointing at you because you are a problem. I'm pointing at you because you can testify to the fact that we've had those problems. Yeah. Although, to be honest, if you think about it, a push mower and a self-propelled push mower would be less than half the price of even the cheap riding mower.
Oh.
And so Jack and we could have both, and we could mow the whole thing in one day together at the same time. So that's not a bad thing.
Sob, hi, it's 88 degrees in the UK. We have no air conditioning. Ugh. We were in the UK 6 years ago when one of you guys had one of your heat waves. Oh my goodness.
It was 40 in London. That was 100 degrees by Fahrenheit. And man, it was so hot in the tube.
It was awful.
I can't remember, Seb, if you live in London or somewhere north. But anyway, it was very hot for a couple days. The whole rest of the time we were in Europe at that point, it was not more than 70, right? Which would be, I don't know what that is in Celsius, but anyway.
Murray says my youngest wants to move to Wyoming and take me with him. I don't want to leave Wisconsin and my 4 grandchildren. Yeah, I can understand why.
Why does he want you to come? Or, well, he or she?
I don't know.
Why does
your
youngest want you to come? Oh, yeah, him.
Yeah.
Huh.
Guys, check out our Dining on a Dime cookbooks. We have Volume 1 and Volume 2. Save money. Get out of debt by saving on your grocery bill. Our gluten-free, dairy-free edition right there. Easy recipes get you in and out of the kitchen quick. That you do not have to spend a lot of money on crazy ingredients. Look at that French toast. Oh my goodness, I think I'm going to make me some French toast. Yum. Full color pictures. You can go to livingonadime.com to get our cookbooks on sale.
I shared the link.
Wanda says it's a great book. Thank you. Or Victoria says it's a great book. Thank you. Wanda says the problem with news is you don't know what's true anymore. Yes. And they just flat out lie to you a lot of the time now.
Well, and I was working in television production since about 1996. And it's not been true all that time. It's more obviously not true now. But what I realize is you only hear what catches the eye or ear of the person who's telling the story, and you only hear it as accurately as the time they spend on the story. And if they have a specific opinion about it, you only hear their opinion. So really, there's very little value in looking at news anyway. I mean, it might be helpful to see certain kinds of stories and realize, oh, wow, I didn't think about that, and that's a problem I have. But in general, I would just find that out from other people, because you're just going to drive yourself nuts with the blow-by-blow account of everything that's happening in the world.
Yeah. Let's see.
And I think that is a large part of why so many people are so stressed these days, is having all this information.
Yeah.
Even if it were all true, which it mostly isn't, it would still be stressful because we're just not designed to take in that much information at once. And we're not designed to spend that much time looking at everything that's happening completely outside of our little sphere. So,
Terry says, I was from South Dakota, 98 degrees, 100% humidity, and that was no fun. Oh my goodness. Yeah. At least, yeah. Arizona has less than 10% humidity. I totally agree. Jojo says, I absolutely agree. My family and I don't watch the news either. Yep. Lavender Dust says, can't you just use a regular riding mower like a tractor type? No, it's too steep. It would tip over.
It's pretty hilly. It's very hilly. The parts that we thought were flat are hilly.
Yeah. Well, and let me see if I can show a picture. I don't know if I can show a picture or not. Hold on. Let me look here and see. Wow, we've come a long way, baby.
Yes. I know, we should be thankful. Actually, I'll be walking on the property somewhere, and I'll just suddenly have this moment of thinking, thank you, Lord. Like, I really, really appreciate where we are.
Well, oh, here. Well, that's going to show.
Well, you just screenshot it and open it open it in preview.
Show like that. Oh wait, no, that'll show. Okay, hold on just a second, guys. Let me so you can see here.
It's funny, from that angle, it doesn't still even look as steep as
it doesn't really look as steep, but that's okay.
If I had known, I would have gotten a picture from down at the very bottom. Then you can see it's really obvious there.
But you can see here. Okay, let me share the screen. See how it goes straight down there? I mean, that's pretty much how our whole yard is. We're built on the side of a hill, so our house is built on the side of a hill. So.
That's quite a bit steeper than it. Well, right here, between the pavement and that big tree.
Yeah.
It's a little bit flat, and then it kind of goes downhill at an angle that didn't seem that serious to us. And then beyond that, it goes down more steeply.
Yeah.
And so that's it. And looking down from the top, it looks less steep than if you're below it looking up.
Yeah.
But nevertheless, yeah.
Susie, when I hear the news, sometimes I just pray for them and move on. Yep, that's what you got to do. Water Bucket says Frigidaire has a low hum. Yeah. Let's see, we had Whirlpool the first time. Yeah, we could try a Frigidaire, I guess. But they're not rated very good.
Didn't he say that Frigidaire and Whirlpool were the same manufacturer?
Well, Amana, I don't know if Frigidaire is too. Could be.
You already went through the person that asked about us getting that one that was just a fridge?
Oh, I didn't see that on there, but go ahead.
Oh, it was in one of the comment lists you had before. But anyway, the one that Tara saw in Billings, that it's just a refrigerator, that would be great. We would love to have that. But the problem is the brand that it is manufactured by the same place as Whirlpool, which was just a complete dumpster fire for us.
Yeah.
So even though it's an awesome sounding deal. Because we had such a bad experience with Whirlpool, we just didn't want to get into that same problem again. In fact, it's kind of unfortunate, but at the moment, we've been happy having no refrigerator in the house for, what is it, a month now? Well, we have a refrigerator downstairs that's an older one in this little apartment we have in the basement. But we've been content to not have one on the floor where the kitchen is for about a month, just because the frustration of constantly having to deal with repairs and warranties and everything else on brand new fridges was just so frustrating. So right now we're looking for something used. It's just amazing. There were tons of used ones available in the spring, but not in the summer. So I said to Tara, they must be buying them for their sodas and their beers.
I don't know. Woo! Somebody says Sub-Zero, but wow, those are expensive. Oh my goodness. Okay, let's see. CC, I've been thinking about doing a raised garden, just thinking about it. That's funny. Yeah, I got to go in and actually cut my garden beds down and refix them because they're too wide and I can't get to the center of them very well. So next year, I'm just going to revamp my entire raised bed section because I got to cut down the raised beds. We got to put in some better fencing and all that. So, Jillian, have you tried raising strawberries in baskets? No, because here they would just freeze right through in the winter. So, J No More says, I bought barking dog and gunshot motion alarm. Haven't seen rabbits. But other side of yard had something eat my squash and cuke, so moved it there. Well, there you go. That's good.
Oh, actually,
I bought some special food. We'll just leave it at that. Can you send me the next one?
I was talking to the boys, and I said, you know what would be great is to get a motion detector that when something walks by it makes some kind of weird noise. And then one of those things that they have in front of used car dealerships, the little air thingy that goes...
Yeah.
And have that fire off with the noise at the same time. Then it would probably scare them away. Was that 3 or 4 I sent you just now?
3. Cooking with Cat Lover. Hello. She says, are you mowing with a rider or push mower? You need a Lawn Boy 2-stroke if it's push. I have never heard of that.
I'll have to check that.
That sounds interesting.
One thing is, when we did get the newer push mower, it has more horsepower than the old one, which is nice when we go through a lot of thick grass. Because a couple times of the year we have a hard time keeping up with it if it's raining a lot.
Yeah.
So.
Mary, scatter wildflower seeds. Yeah. I'd like to do that. But here we have to keep our lawn low for fire mitigation. So we can't just let it grow up because we have a valley behind us. And if a fire from lightning or whatever started and it would just rush straight through that valley. And we have to keep the grass cut around our house. Mary, her son lives with her. He doesn't want to go to Wyoming alone. That's funny. Rachel says her dad used to say blacktop it. Yeah, there you go. The good news is in the summer, we don't water 3/4 of our yard, probably 85% of our yard. And so it's only really bad between May and June. So we have to mow pretty much every day between May and June, some section of the yard. But then in July, August, and September, it slows way down because it's really hot and dry. So it's not as bad, but yeah. Yoku1 says, my mom passed away Saturday. Oh, I'm so sorry. 10 years as her caregiver. Whoa, that's a long time. Have you have to stay busy and positive? Yes. Let's send me the next one. Laura, what about the mower you stand on?
Somebody was asking about that on one of the forums I looked at yesterday, and I wasn't sure if the person was being serious or not when they said, yeah, that works great. I wasn't sure if they were being serious or if they were being sarcastic. But the thing is, it might work. And some of this problem I was having with the sitting one was when you're at an angle, you can't really easily control how your body is positioned. But if you were standing, you probably could. So I don't know. That might work. I honestly, I think, I forgot who was it mentioned it, but I think it was Kimberly. I was thinking I might go to the highway department and ask them, because they do a lot of steepish hills, especially here in Wyoming.
Yeah.
Although I do know a lot of what they use are ag tractors, which is what the people before us eventually had. But I mean, they had a tractor and a ag mower, and it was like
$15,000.
10 years ago, it was like $15,000. So I can't imagine. And I'd probably rather push mow it than that, or hire kids to do it, because ultimately the cost would be cheaper.
Just for the mower part is $2,500. So then you got to buy the tractor too.
CC says maybe you might like a remote control lawnmower. I would love that. We looked at the robot ones. It's just that I wasn't convinced that they would do what we have, but the price is really high, so it wasn't worth the risk for that. See, Eric has the greatest idea.
Move to Arizona, you don't have to mow grass. Yeah.
I think I'd probably rather mow.
Number 2 from Batting the Badlands, maybe, I think is what you're saying. I hate AC and do not have it. Close the house during the day, open the windows at night. Summer bedding, ceiling fan in the bedrooms, do a ton of grilling, no inside cooking. Yep.
Wow.
That's exactly it. Vicky, back in the day, we only knew what is that clicking? Back in the day, we only knew what was going on in our city unless it was something huge. Now, thanks to social media, we know everything going on everywhere. Yep. No wonder people are so depressed. Yeah, no kidding. Tammy, we've had really good luck with Maytag appliances. Yeah, I think the older ones, but now they're bought out by Whirlpool, I think. Pen, there are sensors with red lights and noise. Yes. Although when I went to go look at the reviews, they said they weren't very good.
Well, a lot of the animals are a lot smarter than you think. I don't mean you. I mean, than people think. It's funny because we keep having crows try to move in. And today they were scouting in the tree, seeing if they could gack the cute little songbirds. And so the crows, it's a psychological game with them because they're smart enough to recognize things that are fake. And they're also smart enough to recognize if you're the problem, and then they'll come after you. So you have to play this little passive-aggressive game with them.
Or get some special food.
For crows?
I meant for the rabbits.
I put Reggie the dead crow out there hanging in the area where they were after that, because I have these fake dead crows, if you haven't heard about that before, that I bought on Amazon. And you're not supposed to put them out while the crows can see you. But if I see them hanging around too much in one area, I will hang the fake dead crows out, and like they see it and they go tell each other, they go tell the rest of them, and then they go away. And I wouldn't mind the crows, except that they murder all the cute little songbirds that we like. So I'm like, okay, you crows, go somewhere else.
Hello, Mindy. She caught us live after a long time.
Yeah,
Carolyn
it's
says,
good to see you again.
Did your stove get out as well? Yeah, and I got a 20-year-old Maytag for $100 that we're using right now.
And it's been working well. Oh, Laura, it's been working great. Laura said, I thought Pistol said Frigidaire was made by GE. I guess we should ask him again.
Maybe, I can't remember. I need to go back and watch my own video. Jan, I've had Frigidaire washer and dryer for 14 years and love it. Yeah, that's why I'm looking for something that's older, like 15 years or 20 years old, if I can find something like that. Daniel says Amazon Prime Day sales are going on right now. Horrible prices. I always remember when you say you know prices, it's true. Outrageous prices even on sale. Yep. And although I am so mad, I just spent $400 on stain to stain our really, really long fence over here. And then it goes on sale for Amazon price, and it could have cost me $260. I was so mad. Yeah, I was not a happy camper. You can see the next one. Bounty Badland says, just remember kid price for odd jobs here is $50 an hour. That is just insane. Absolutely insane.
I just think that's funny because, like, here, if you consider how much they get paid if they go to Walmart or something,
yeah,
then If I were a kid, I would rather do mowing than work at Walmart.
Jacqueline says we have a lot of clover on our acreage and it does not grow as fast as grass. That's a good idea. Yeah.
I just sent it to you, but there were only like 3 on it, and you've already read 2 of them. So
Peace says our home is on the top of the hill. My husband has a 0 turn. He loved it. Very steep hill. He has to go sideways. He won't let my 16-year-old do it, but it only took him an hour to get a hold of it. So she's saying you're just being a weenie driving it.
Well, I drove it for like 45 minutes to see if I could get better at it. And at times I thought, is there something wrong with the mower? Because it seemed like the right side was less powerful than the left side. But when I took it up on the pavement and tried it, it seemed like it was fine on both sides. So I tried, because we have varying places of different steepnesses of hill. And we have some places that are almost like a little ramp going down, and some places that are ultra steep. And so I was trying all these different things to see if I could get a handle on it. But I just thought, wow, I think I'm going to keep pushing for a while.
Kimberly says I haven't watched TV in weeks and have not watched maybe 5 minutes of news a day. I've never been happier. Yep. Yeah. I've just been doom scrolling just because I'm tired and I just have nothing else to do. But I think what I need to be doing is doom working instead and just put out videos and get them done. I just have no motivation to do anything at the moment. So,
well, and the thing on the doom scrolling is I don't like to scroll anything that's just random, like whatever Facebook feeds me. But I forgot the name of that group. Was it Christians that like clean jokes?
Yeah.
There's one particular group that it's just nothing but memes, and about 60% of them are laugh out loud funny. I mean, there are others that are probably funnier to other people, but I mean, I don't usually see that many things that I think are funny. Sometimes I'll just look at that one group because they don't allow comments, so you don't see all people's stupid comments about all their opinions about food and politics and all sorts of other things that people argue about pointlessly. And so it's nice that I will scroll that. But there were a couple things that I just deleted recently off my phone, even though I like the people, because it was just nothing but a bunch of that kind of newsy stuff. And I was like, this is just going to stress me out.
Go check out our Dying on a Dime cookbooks, guys. Volume 1 and Volume 2, 25% off on our website. There may or may not be any damaged books left. We've got some on clearance. It's minor damage, like corners. Nothing major. All pages are intact and everything. Some of them, just the boxes for shipping got damaged, so that's all it is. Then our gluten-free, dairy-free edition right here, livingonadime.com. Easy recipes to get you in and out of the kitchen quick.
I shared the link for just the regular books, but if you go to our store there, I put a little thing at the top that says, hey, if you don't mind a slightly damaged book, you can get a better deal. And you just click that link.
Carolyn says, my parents have a 20-year-old GE stove that works great. Yeah. Rachel says, clover should draw the bees too. Does it spread into areas we want grass, though? Yes, it does. And Mike would not like the bees, but yes. Laura, your appliance troubles have made me very mindful about my appliance maintenance to make them last. I'm terrified to think about buying new appliances because of all the trouble you had. You should be. And it's not just us. Like, everybody's having this problem.
Which problem? With refrigerators?
The new appliance problems.
Well, what's weird about it is if you look on the websites, like for Home Depot or something, of course, people, they can control their reviews. But if you look at their reviews, they seem to be pretty high. But then if you look at what people say a lot of bad stuff. And we were just like, we're not dealing with the frustration anymore. We're going to find an old one. Especially since the old stove is working so much better than the new one. I mean, the 20-year-old stove is used stove is working so much better than the brand new stove we had.
Yeah.
So.
Yep. Kimberly says, I've gotten hooked on foreign dramas from Turkey and Pakistan and India, and I watch them in English subtitles and more hooked. I'm also trying to do a lot more reading. There you go. Yeah. Well, I'm trying to do reading too, although Mom got me all these Amish books at the library. Our library has a free section where you can just take old novels and stuff. And so we look for the clean ones and Mom brings them to me. But some of these Amish ones, I'm just like, oh my goodness, can we have something different, please? I mean, one lady, apparently she's like a really popular person. Like, I don't know how this lady has sold so many books, because it's really stupid, because she'll say things like, say something in half Amish, half English, and then she'll repeat it all in English, so you know what they're talking about. And so she'll say something like, what? Oh, I'm going to go fix a peanut butter and sandwich. And then the kid will say, oh, thank you, Mommy, for the blah, 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 peanut blah, 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 for lunch. You're welcome. I'm glad I could fix you a peanut butter and jelly sandwich for lunch. The whole entire book, I didn't even finish the book. I finally just dumped it. I was like, you've got to be kidding me. She just sat the whole time repeating herself. And she's like it's Wanda somebody or another. She's supposed to be somebody really good writer. But I was just like, I cannot handle reading this anymore. So now I have a reading issue, because I'm like, yeah, I can't handle that. Jennifer says they make motion detectors that sound like barking dogs. Oh, that wouldn't
be too
drive our neighbors crazy. Oh, wait, let's think about that.
Well, at the area where the deer and the rabbits are the biggest problem, the neighbors probably wouldn't really hear it.
Yeah, true. Debbie, toasters nowadays are horrible. Oh, don't get me started on my toaster thing.
I saw the toaster comment. I was like, oh, Tara sounded like she was wrapping the show. This is going to go another hour now.
I have tested probably 20 toasters, and we cannot get anything that will toast right. Makes me so mad. I have not broken down and bought a $300, $400 toaster, and I probably should. But
actually, what would be better is to get a toaster from 1975.
Yeah. Susie hasn't had TV in 20 years. Yep. Mel says Netflix has Asian shows. Yeah, I know. After they did that whole thing, we canceled Netflix, and I won't go back there anymore. I'm like, if they're going to be putting stuff like that with those little girls on there, nope, ain't going to happen.
I do like foreign films, though. Tara doesn't. So when I'm going to watch something that I'm like, oh, I have time to watch something and Tara's not here, I'll watch a foreign film, because she hates films in other languages.
I don't want to stress out watching a movie. I just want to see what happens.
See, I don't find it stressful. I like it, particularly if it's in French. But even other stuff in other languages, I like when I can read the subtitles. So
Karen says, I personally think Home Depot and Lowe's sell appliances that are seconds. I wouldn't be surprised.
What's funny is after we got I was so thankful by the grace of God that they took that other one back after 3 months. But for a couple of days, it was sitting out in the aisle with a big sign on it that said defective in big writing. And I was like, yes, you go.
Shan says she got a $40 stove at a garage sale a year and a half ago. Still going strong. Yep, that's good. That's what I figured with refrigerators. I'm just going to start rotating through refrigerators and just keep buying used ones as the old ones die, and it'll be cheaper. Cece says I would love a barking dog motion detector. Yeah. Manny Badlands, we just put in new flooring, industrial grade, last August. Within a week, it was wearing. There's no reason for that. Less than a year. No fighting with the manufacturer. Flooring store has been amazing. Manufacturer, nope. That's good that the flooring store was good.
Well, it's funny because we'd had so much trouble with the manufacturer, with Whirlpool. And Amanda, we were starting to have the same trouble. That's when I just said, let's just go to the store and tell them the whole story. And I just lined out step by step. These are the things that happen, and this is why we want you to give us our money back, even though it's past the return window.
Debbie, she's looking for a toaster from old ones at thrift store. Yep, and Nathaniel says he has his great-grandparents' 1940s toaster. Man, you hang on to that.
Don't let it go.
You just keep that toaster going. Marilyn, I bought my last toaster at the grocery store for $19.99 and had it for 8 years. Yeah, the best toaster I ever got was at Kmart, and it was $8, and I can still see it on the shelf because it was my moment. And I thought, I'm so tired of messing with these toasters, so I just picked it up. I thought I'll just throw it away in a month if it stops working. We had that toaster for 10 years before it died. I was so mad after Kmart went out of business. So, yeah. So, anyway, Laura says we should buy a robotic dog to chase the deer away. Yeah.
It wouldn't even have to bark. Just making the quick noise would scare everything off.
All right. Visit us livingonadime.com, guys. We will see you guys next time. Have a good night.
Yep. Have a great night.
Stay cool.
Bye.